are the ancient alchemists? What secrets did they know and how can you become one? I know you guys want to know this. I've got a very, very special guest for you all today. I have brought you a real alchemist. Welcome to the Akashic Show, everyone. My name is Emily Harrison. I am the founder and director here at the Akashic Academy, and I'm very excited to have a guest on my show today, but I don't see any comments yet. Maybe I have to turn it this way before I get you on? No, it says rotate your phone. Guy just called me a pro and I'm totally struggling. All right, hang on. I got this. Oh, here we go. Comments coming up. Yes, please say hello once you get here, because we are going to create a very sacred space for moving some energy, for grounding in some of our alchemization powers. What's up, T-Dubs? I see Danielle Harper in the house. Hootie! Hello, happy Friday, William Lamb. I see you. I see you, Carla. I see you. All of you who show up every single week to this space to grow and expand. I see you. Lovely. Yes. Shelly, I see you. I'm waiting to see my dear friend, who I am very excited to introduce all of you to today, Kai Van Bodhi. You will notice that my good friend, my partner, Coach Nick is not here today. Coach Nick is on a trek. I see you, Kai. I see you. I'm going to add you on here. So I have taken this opportunity to go fishing and reeling in somebody I am super excited to share with you guys. And that's my friend Kai Van Bodhi. And I have a terrible echo, my friend. Do you have an echo? Anybody else out there hearing that echo? Kai, while Kai is getting his earbuds plugged in, I want to share a little bit more about my friend with you. This is what the press has to say about Kai, and then I'm going to give you a little personal story about Kai. Kai Van Bodhi is the pioneer in the field of holistic medicine, integrating both ancient alchemy and modern neuroscience into a complete and accessible pathway to unlock human potential. Holding a master's degree in Oriental Medicine, he is an artful teacher of meditation, taichi, qigong, and mind-body exercise. After spending 15 years studying with the masters in the Far East, learning the language and becoming an insider in traditions often inaccessible to Western students, Kai has been transmitting these ancient technologies infused with modern science to thousands of people in live events. That's how he got me. Group coaching programs and one-on-one mentorship programs. Like I said, that's what the press, that's what the publicists have to say about this man. I'm going to tell you a little story about the moment that I met you, Kai. I might be jogging your memory on this, but Kira Lani brought me to your event, Pathway to Power. And Kira's an insider with you guys. Kira introduced me to a lot of your crew, a lot of your Merry Powerful Bandits. And it was the morning before we were starting. We got there a little bit early. Kira's introducing me to people. I'm meeting people. I'm opening my heart. You guys know when you're at a live event, when it gets ready to start, there's a shift in the energy in the room. The lights change a little bit. The music changes a little bit. I didn't realize this, but I think you were on your walking in, like your entrance coming in, starting to work the crowd, say hello. Whoever I was talking to, you must have been close to them, because you came up behind him, you gave him a big old bear hug. And I said, well, hello, who are you? And you said, I'm Kai. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second. Kai's the guy in charge around here. Oh, you're Kai. Hi, Kai. And I gave you a huge hug, and we had just a moment to say hello. And the next thing I know, this man walks up on stage. It was like I had a moment with Bono before the concert started. He proceeded to break my heart, my mind wide open, to pour his medicine in, and I will forever be your groupie, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Kai Van Bodhi. Kai, please say hello.
Hi, everybody. That was that introduction made me a little red in the cheeks, although you can't tell with my lighting here, which I'm still working on. But thank you so much. And yeah, I definitely am in my genius zone when I'm teaching. It's my favorite thing in the world, to light an audience up.
And you absolutely do that. You go into a zone which it's like you're just channeling in brilliance. So I'm so excited to create that sacred space with my audience here at the Akashic Academy today. Thank you, my friend, for joining us. I know this is one of your favorite topics. It's one of mine too. I'm excited to dive into it. We're going to be talking today about the Ancient Alchemists. Of course, there are many of them. We're going to talk about Kai's realm of expertise in them today. We're going to talk about what secrets they know. We're going to talk about how we can become modern alchemists. But we got a little business to take care of. You guys know how we roll here on the Akashic Show, right? My good friend Kai has agreed to participate and play along for the puppet show. So, Kai, here's how it goes. I'll go first and I'll show my puppet, but you have to give me a drum roll, please. Okay? Today, we are puppetizing the great masters. This is Kuan Yin, okay? Kuan Yin is known as the compassionate rebel. I identify hugely with this because Kuan Yin, while she has just that transformational divine feminine energy of compassion, of forgiveness, she also has a fire. She has a charge about her. Kai, wasn't she a taichi master, a qigong master? Was she not?
She's definitely one of the Taoist immortals, and so they all have to know some kind of kung fu to get into that club. So I'm gonna guess she knew something. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm going with Kuan Yin today, bringing in a little of divine feminine, because this week in the academy, I got to channel in more of that divine masculine energy for you guys. We talked about Melchizedek, Merlin, Jesus, the Saint Germain lineage. So this week we're going to be, or I should say next week, we're going to be moving on to Kuan Yin. So I puppetize Kuan Yin. All right, friend. You ready for your drum roll?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. I do it two ways. I do it with my fingers and like with a mouth drum roll.
That's
okay,
great.
just so you know how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have, I took just an hour, knocked out a sculpture before this one, and I had to one up the puppet. And this is my favorite ascended master, Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu. Now, Lao Tzu, first of all, you're going to notice that Lao Tzu is the founder of Taoism. He is riding on a water buffalo, and he has a message for all of us, which is slow the fuck down. Slow down. Listen inside. Find the peaceful spot inside yourself and then move from that place. Lao Tzu also said that the written word is the least reliable purveyor of truth, and that we find truth within ourselves. And so as a religion or a philosophy or as a teacher, the less you can put into a student, the better. You actually want to peel away the layers of shit that have caked on a person's consciousness and let their own divinity be revealed. And he is one of my favorite heroes. I call upon him in my healing sessions. And this is Lao Tzu. So.
I love it. I've been calling him Lao Tzu my entire life. So thank you for correcting me.
There's different dialects in Chinese, and so probably in some dialect he is Lao Tzu, but he's Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu.
I love that dude. Whoever he is and however we pronounce his name, I work with him quite a bit. And these are the exact messages coming in for me this week. My students if any of my students are on here, that's why I laughed so hard when you were talking about being quiet, quieting down, letting the divinity arise in other people. One of my lessons has been to shut my mouth in terms of my mentorship. I've only been doing this a couple of years. I feel really good at my job. I like to get in there and run my mouth and share insights. So this week in particular, and I'm gonna start right here with you today, Kai, I'm gonna really, as soon as I give some news, I'm gonna shut my mouth. I'm gonna be quiet and listen and take in the medicine that you have to share with us today. But we got a little bit of news to go through here in the Akashic Academy. I got to give a shout out to Stephanie Stiefkis, who is the latest graduate student of learning to read the Akashic Records. Right now, more than ever in the history that I have done this in this lifetime, I am seeing my students learn to cultivate their own individuality through the Akashic Records. They are creating individual and very unique ways of using the records, of extrapolating the knowledge that they're getting. As Stephanie gave me the final reading, I had some very profound downloads come in. So I'm super proud of Stephanie, as well as all of the other students who are working through that mastermind. Inside the Akashic Academy membership program this month, the entire month of June, we are studying alchemy. And we're not only studying alchemy, but we are bringing in activations from these ancient masters. If you are not a member, last week, or I should say this past week, here's what you missed. The Melchizedekian priesthood came in the space of our Akashic records. We had experiences of Jesus coming in, Merlin, Melchizedek, Saint Germain, Archangel Raphael, all holding this very, very profound space to begin activating our own awareness and our own alchemy. We're going to continue that process all month long. And right now you can join your first month for $4.44. I'm going to post the links that will lead you on the trail to not only discovering exactly what's going on in the Academy, we're going to give you a video tour, but also take you to the checkout spot where you can enter the code SACRED4. You can get in with us for $4.44 your first month. No obligation to continue hanging out. Kai Van Bodhi, it's shameless plug time. What news do you have in your world that you'd like to share with my peeps?
Ooh, that's one of the pieces, which is kind of a building off of what you talked about. I do mentorship as well, and I've started to realize that the greatest gift that I have to give people are experiences of their own connection to their own divinity. And my coaching becomes less and less about healing inner child wounds, although we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more about setting a person up with the practices that get them so deeply connected to the wisdom part of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm moving to more of a retreat-based model where every other month I have a retreat here in the mountains, the sacred mountains of Southern California. So I don't know if somebody's interested in learning about how to step on to their pathway of power, or you're interested in coming out to commune with your higher self by being in nature and using breath work and meditation. They can reach out to me and we can just hop on a call and talk about what's in it for them and what's available to them. But my work is moving back into the teaching of taichi and qigong and these alchemical traditions. And yeah.
I love it because it's so incredibly powerful. So let's dive in and talk about it today. First of all, I've dropped some big names already in this show of the ancient alchemists that have been coming through my awareness that I've been working with. What are the ones that really show up for you? I know. Wait a second. I already forgot how to pronounce Lao Tzu's name correctly. Lao Tzu.
Lao Tzu.
Lao Tzu.
The old child.
Oh.
The old child. Yeah.
My middle child is definitely one of those. Lao Tzu. Okay, so tell us a little bit more about Lao Tzu and any other of the ascended masters that you want to just illuminate for us, that you feel guided to illuminate for us in this space.
Well, to be honest, I mean, if we're not going to dive deep into Taoist stuff, I mean, my three alchemists are Lao Tzu, Buddha, and Yeshua, Jesus. Mm-hmm. They were all alchemists. I mean, like, one of the cool things is if you go back to the Essenes, which maybe your tribe's familiar with, this was a vegetarian spiritual community that lived on an isolated part of the Dead Sea, and that Mary and Joseph belong to them. They were part of this brotherhood. Now, the Essene Gospel of Peace is this book that we found that they've translated, and in it talks about Satan and the evil forces in nature can be moved out of the body by the angels. What are the angels? Sunlight, water, earth. And so literally you would take a sick person into a sacred natural space, you'd bury their body in the earth for several hours and teach them a prayer. So this is very much what the Taoists were up to. Mm-hmm. So in that way, Jesus is an alchemist for sure. And then
Absolutely.
Buddha's alchemy has gotten more present in my life as I've gotten older. And the main alchemical teaching from Buddha that I find value in right now is that I got into healing and alchemy because my mother and my brother passed away before their times. And as a young man, I really wanted to be able to save them or influence the outcome of their health challenge. And one of the things that Buddha says is that there is nothing in this world to depend on. It is transitory. And I used to think that was kind of negative or whatever. But more recently I realized it's like, this is not the place to build your house. This world. This world, your parents will die, the one person you love will die, your children will die, hopefully after you. And so if you're too attached, the lesson I learned with my mother and brother, if I'm too attached to them living and not dying, I don't actually show up very well in presence as they're going through this adventure into the next realm of reality. And so that really got me into meditating on death and starting to realize that the money and my cabin and all the things I want to depend on, that it's like trying to grab water. It just slips through your fingers. And so I've been just looking at a deeper connection with spirit and with what comes after this life so that I can more fully live this life. And so that's the alchemy of Buddha, I believe.
I am totally with you. As soon as you said Buddha, the ideas that were coming up in my awareness were just unattachment. It's a huge lesson that I'm working with right now. And I find that unattachment and grief tend to be pretty intertwined in the way that we experience it and transmute it. I see Lee out there said, yes, the same thing with her mom. Danielle saying, love that. Already landing deep with my audience, my friend. Thank you. It makes me very sad. It's hard for me to hear. I haven't transmuted the grief yet of you losing your family too early. So,
well, check this out. This out. It's made me who I was, because when I went to China to study with them, first of all, my brother had a terminal illness, Lou Gehrig's disease, and so ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And the first words I learned to say in Chinese, I would meet a qigong teacher or healer, and I would say, "Can you treat this disease?" And if they said no, that's not my teacher. That's not my teacher. If you don't think you can help the disease my brother has, I'm not going to waste my time with you. And so I would find certain teachers that would say, well, any disease can be treated when the internal medicines are turned on inside the body. And so I'll end here, and hopefully we can get into some of the meat of Taoist alchemy. But Lao Tzu, I'll share a story if it's okay.
Absolutely. We're storytellers and cussers around here.
So I was in Taipei, Taiwan, the little island off of China, debated whether it's its own country or if it's part of China. If you're in mainland China, it's part of China. If you're in Taiwan, they are their own country, their own money. As a U.S. citizen, you don't need a visa. Anyway, I'm taking a group of my students to the World Religions Museum in Taipei. And it is this, one of the most spiritual temples I've ever been in. The walls are filled with authentic spiritual artifacts from all the world's religions. And they weave them on the wall so that you can see the relationship of one religion to the other. And we've been doing breath work, we were fasting, we were altered in our consciousness.
Yes.
And as I'm coming around the U-shaped part of this hall or museum, I see one of the students on the trip who is a Taoist in her own choice. She's like there with her mouth open, and I get over there, and on the ground is the Taoist medicine wheel with yin yang in the middle and the 5 elements and the 8 hex, and it's metal and it's etched into the ground. It has relief. And I have very barefoot kind of shoes on. And I step onto the glyph and I look at the wall, and there is the thing that pops out to me. It says, as a Taoist, your primary responsibility is to be healthy and to teach others to be healthy, because the road to enlightenment is a long road, and it requires a clear mind, an open heart, and a vital body. And I started to cry. I started to cry because here I am, a Chinese doctor, practicing the medicine, and I'm realizing that I'm a Taoist. My soul is Taoist. I'm here. you know, and then Taoists also have fun. They're irreverent. They have fun. They
Yes.
drink. They make love. They're my people, you know? So,
Hell yes, you are a Taoist. Okay, I'm going to
Okay.
tell just a little bit of a story, and then I want you to dive into the meat that you want, the juiciness that you want to share with us. That's a word that I got from your tribe. You guys, all you boys talk about how juicy everything is. I love it. You are totally an opener of other people's medicine, because right now, how many of you guys out there participating with me in the Akashic research study that we're doing right now to clear chronic emotional and physical pain? This download came in through just a Facebook video that I was watching of yours, my friend. And I was watching and I was listening and I was paying attention. I was all right there. And then all of a sudden, like you said, you start to get altered in your consciousness. And all of this divine download started coming in. So you definitely, I can tell you guys, open your heart and minds while you are in this man's presence, because it will align, alchemize your own energy field in a way that is quantumly unexplainable to me, because I am not a scientist. I am a creative artist, research type. Like Kai, I'm one of Kai's people, one of the irreverent people. Nick is a Hare Krishna. My partner Nick, he's very reverent, and I tease about me not being allowed inside of his temple. They have to put me outside. Leave me outside the temple during worship service. But I'll be partying out there with your people. Give us the meat, please, my friend, of the Taoist
yeah,
tradition.
I want to say to Brian Zen, Brian, I live in Idlewild, which is like a mountain over from Big Bear. And I have meditated in Big Bear. I've had a couple medicine journeys in Big Bear, and I love it. Yeah, so my buddy has an acupuncture clinic over there, and I'm thinking about heading over to Lake Arrowhead to maybe collaborate and maybe even move. We'll see what happens. All right, so the meat of Taoist alchemy. One of the coolest parts, I'll say a couple like frames.
Okay.
But one of my favorite things about the Taoists is they are equally root chakra, earth, like three-dimensional reality, and they can go as far into the cosmos as you want them to go. And they're really good at holding the bridge between the most cosmic and the most mundane. That's my favorite thing about that culture and that lineage. Now, as a result of this, sometimes the alchemy is so simple
Yes.
that it goes right over your head.
Missed.
It goes right over your head. Yeah, it gets missed. So I've been doing a Facebook Live series, and I got up to 5. I covered Taoist alchemy from 0 to 5 because, truthfully, at every number, just like in the traditions that Emily may know more about, at every number of numerology, there is a philosophy of life for the Taoists, and it is practical, it is medicinal, and it is beautiful. So anyway, let's start here. One of the first mystical sayings in Taoist alchemy is called guarding the one. Guarding the one. So this might be something you can take with you. What does that mean? First of all, it means that your life force is just one. You have one life force. And every food you eat, every word you speak, every person you make love to, every way you serve the world either increases your life force or diminishes it. And so as you start to really listen to your body and your emotions, and you quiet and clear the mind to be the instrument and servant it's meant to be, then you don't need a dietitian to tell you what food lights up your body and nourishes you. You don't need a relationship coach to tell you if your relationship is good for you or not. You know whether or not it's enhancing your life force. So that's the first part, guarding the one. And that includes guarding that life force against your own inner critic, your own self-sabotaging. That's been a big part of my journey over the last 5 years, and I've made some really good progress about just like being able to love yourself as you are, even as you change. Because otherwise you are not guarding the one. You are splintering yourself into parts. And so that's one. Another meaning of guarding the one is remembering that there is a oneness or unity to the whole reality that we're living in. It appears dualistic, and yet the truth is there are many parallel universes, but according to the Taoists, we will all go back to the Tao, and there is no way to not go back to the Tao. There is nothing you can do to be banished from the unity that is divine nature. And so to start to question that is to not guard the one. So the oneness, also to see that other people are an extension of you. This is that whole like unity consciousness, guarding the one. So that's where it starts. That's where it starts.
I work with that mirror concept all the time. It is just really, that's been a really profound shift in me. Once I began to realize that everyone was truly connected to me in a mirror and showing up to illuminate some aspect of myself. There's a divine teacher to illuminate some aspect to grow. Most of the time, the people that piss you off are the places where you can grow the most. And once I began to recognize whatever's irritating me about somebody else is just a divine map right back into where I need to work and grow and shift next. So yes, I'm totally down with that. Wayne Dyer too really brought my awareness to like shifting me on a different way where I could realize that oneness, that connection that you're talking about, as well as the other way that we truthfully experience reality, which is duality.
Right.
And all the places in between.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the second level is yin and yang, like male and female, sleeping and waking. And so this is like where the Buddhists and the Taoists really like to hang out together. So there's a concept in Buddhism. In fact, my spiritual name, Kai Van Bodhi, Kai of the Bodhis. Bodhi means a bodhisattva is one who is aware of dependent arising, which is a fancy way of saying if you stay up all night and party, you will be tired the next day. That inherent in the birth of a child is the death of that child. That the sun and the moon move in, they move in a cycle together. And so that is just like common sense of like, oh my goodness.
I'm back.
So that's like that's the common sense is like if you stand in a qigong posture and meditate, sitting down feels so good afterwards. If you fast for 16 hours a day or you fast for 3 days in a row, all of your improper food cravings go away and the strawberry tastes so good. So the Taoists are about using duality for pleasure, for health enhancement, and for connection to the divine. So, yeah.
Nope, you go. Finish.
Now, the last thing would be like, so another example of this where there's a transcendent nature is like, say, lovemaking. So the Taoist idea of Tantra is that, and really it's magic for all of our relationships.
I can't believe I almost interrupted you before you got to this part.
So, yeah, so,
let me just shut up. Go.
Imagine what happens when you're lovemaking, and use that for your friendship, your work, when giving and receiving is impossible to tell the difference. Like two people are making love, they're both on the edge of orgasm, they're both immensely enjoying each other. Who is giving and who is receiving? You can't tell because they are the same thing. And that's where yin and yang merge. That's where new life comes from. And so like in our work, like how can we serve the world in a way that we are even more energized after we do that kind of service?
Well, that's the next question that we want to move into is how do we become modern day alchemists? That sounds like a really fun way to rev up our energy. Yes. What else can we do? Or tell us more about that.
Well, I'd say the first thing is this. The first thing is I believe the first thing that most people need to do, this is totally biased to my field, but I believe most of us need more mastery over our physical body, our emotions, and the being able to still the mind. And that's the fundamental training of a Taoist alchemist is first you learn to stabilize your consciousness, which is to say, how do I expect to utilize the mind-body connection to heal an illness or to manifest some external reality when I can't even bring my consciousness to the breath in and out of my nose for more than 5 seconds with my 7-second attention span. So number one is get real about your meditative training. And the first stage in Taoist training is called Ding Li, focus ability. And so it's usually around meditation under the nose. The breath goes in. I know I'm breathing in. The breath goes out. I feel the gas on the top of my upper lip. And when you can stay there for 15 minutes without a lot of distractive thoughts, now your consciousness, which is a broad, distractible, fractaled out energy, becomes a laser beam. Now, once that ability is there to observe, now we can start to open the heart and we can begin to observe our emotions without reacting to them. And we can start to truly fulfill our inner needs and come from this deeper place. Like, how many of us we have a shell of emotionality on the surface that comes from our teachers, our parents, our previous lovers, our current lovers, and we're acting in the world to keep love. It has nothing to do with our authentic self. It's just about approval and safety. And in the Taoist, we use that laser of our consciousness to say, oh, there's another layer of emotion underneath that surface, and there's yet even a deepest layer. And in that deepest layer is where my soul talks to me. And that's going to probably ask me to make some decisions that are going to feel scary. They're going to threaten my security and my comfort. But on the other side is the fucking life that I really want, that you really want, maybe, is the life that you really want when you listen to that inner voice. And then lastly, and you could actually go in either order. That's what I love about the Tao. You could start with the heart, you could start with the mind, you could start with the gut or the body. And then the last part is train your body. The issues are in your tissues. There are meridian stretching, there's breathing. Like, if you don't breathe and move and stretch, your trauma will lodge in the tissues and it will become a cycle that perpetuates itself. You feel angry often, the fascia under the right side of your rib cage by your liver contracts. You feel angry more easily, you're more triggered. Now you maybe drink alcohol or you take an anti-anxiety medicine that screws up the kidneys. And so meanwhile, stretching and, spinal twist and breath and making noise can get that shit out, and it doesn't have to be lodged in the tissues. Now, yeah, so anyway, that's kind of the thing. Train yourself. Get some basic skill over your body, your mind, and your heart.
It is so imperative. If you're going to embody this, that means holding it in this higher frequency energy in your physical body. And there's a process to releasing the old shit. You got to get it out. And some of it's very, very deep. I can tell you guys, I have been doing this work, this self diving in really, really deep for 20 years, at least. Even though it hasn't been my job, my entire life didn't click into alignment where every piece of my day revolves around this until several years ago. But I did spend 20 years of my life diving into this and doing a lot of work, stripping away the layers. I still have things coming to the surface. I have exactly what Kai said, areas where I have buried deep trauma in my tissues. Part of the release that's coming through in the research group that I'm doing are ways to assimilate the understanding of how this gets lodged in our tissues and doing the work actually in our Akashic records, because it rewrites our timeline when we work in this space. But I am experiencing this. I'm also very grateful to not only the knowledge and access that I have, but the others that come into my awareness and share knowledge that open and expand me as well. So I can get this shit moving and out, because when it comes to the surface, many of us tend to look at ourselves as sick. I want to inspire you. I want to invite you to look at yourself as healthy enough, as that you love yourself enough, that this can now come to the surface for release. There are people who can help you. People like Kai, people like me. They just reach out. People inside the Akashic Academy, reach out to a friend. We want to begin talking about a lot of these things, because one of the reasons that I have all this trauma buried, because when it happened within my experience, within my world, I did not have the space to talk about it. I did not have the skills. So I just stuffed it.
Yep. Yeah, I'd love to presence two things to just drive this point all the way home.
Do it.
Is it okay? So number one is, like, one of my teachers, when we would do qigong and breath work, he would say, make noises.
Yes.
Because there are traumas in your body. And he would say, especially cancer, it doesn't come out as, oh, when I was 14, I was abused. No, it comes out as, ah, or it comes out as, ah. That vibration will discharge the constriction and the emotional trauma that is going to cause those cells to proliferate into cancer. And it sounds woo-woo, but it's not. It's science.
It is. It's science.
It's science. And so the other thing, the same teacher said, when you go to an emergency room or a hospital, what you are hearing in the people's murmurs and cries and screams, you are hearing the aggregate of 25 or 30 years of repressing true emotional release. And the only way they can do it is through the surgeon and through the deep pain of the physical body. The body's a messenger. So that piece just, blew my mind, because I really get it. And so the last part is, if you lift weights, if you do yoga by yourself, if you have a hiking trail or an outside area where you're by yourself, please go and breathe and make noises and tap on parts of your body that feel stuck.
Yes.
And then make noises. What is it saying? Just let it out. That is so much of the work. And then the last piece I want to drop in here. As someone, Emily, I don't know if you share this with me, but I love people so much, so deeply. Everyone is my mother and my brother. Because I lost them. My work is to help everybody that I can help, so they don't go like my mother and brother did. Now, I used to be really uncomfortable with other people's suffering. And what I've learned is a big challenge in the New Age community and on the seminar circuit is that we want to come out of the healing process to give it words or explain what's happening. And so what I see happening a lot in a lot of the modalities out there is they start to unlayer and uncover the raw issue that's underneath, and the issue starts to emerge, and then people interrupt the process to give words to it. I just want to invite all of you, the next time you're in a seminar, the next time you're working with Emily or someone else, and you're starting to have something come up, stay with the feeling in the body and let it run its course before you try to explain it. And if you're a coach, let them go through, just tell them, keep breathing.
Yes.
Don't have to talk to me. Feel, breathe, it's okay. Oh, yeah, limbic resonance with them.
Yes.
Then when that is moved out, there is a deeper truth. I'd say more than 50% of the healing I see going on gets to that and then interrupts it, and it keeps it lodged in there. So don't be attached to bringing words to your healing process until the emotional, physical process has fully run its course. It's not going to take forever. It's only going to take another minute or two.
Yes.
And then there'll be deeper truth. But if you interrupt that, like, oh, I'm feeling this about my mother, and then boom, it's shut off. Mind critical factor comes on. So anyway, just another piece of staying out of words as long as possible.
So you guys feel like you have some good takeaways from today already. We're going to do a quick little activation before we go. But just to wrap up, all right, you got to train your physical body, right? You got to keep the mind in check. You got to keep the emotions in check. If you find, and there's a subtle difference between keeping them in check, by the way, let me just be a little bit more clear, and allowing the shit to move through. Do not fool yourself and stuff things down thinking that you are keeping it in check, because you are not. Okay? And your subtle body knows, and your subtle body, like Kai said, is a messenger, and it's going to come back and tell you. The activation that I want to do for you guys today is to turn on the subtle body and to turn on the awareness more dynamically for each one of you. And this goes back to what Kai said, guarding the one. This really has to do with your awareness of that subtle connection that we want to become more dynamic in our life, that connection to oneness. But it requires really tuning in and listening very, very deeply and being willing to. This is going to turn on a lot of things for you, by the way. If you're not good at holding polarity within your body, and you turn on the subtle body and you begin to become aware of what's really going on with you, it can hurt. Okay? That's okay. It's part of the process. Reach out to somebody who is going through it, who's here to help you. All right? Let's go. We're going to do this just very, very simply. I'm going to invite you guys to sit up very nice and straight. Take a nice cleansing breath. Calling light to you, 360 degrees. Gentle pause at the top and exhaling. Bringing the awareness to that crystalline tube of light. And we want to make sure that we're really grounded. So sending that crystalline tube all the way down into the belly of Mother Earth, the core of Mother Gaia. And this is a two-way connection. Not only can you release into the Mother Earth, but you can also pull up her medicine, her love, her support. Our Mother Earth is fully Christed consciousness in her highest self-realization. You may think, oh, hell, I do not agree, Emily. What's going on here on the planet? This is not Christed consciousness. Free will to create whatever experiences are necessary for us to learn and grow. So you get to choose if you're going to create out of those old patterns of anger and violence, or if you're going to learn to tune into your own inner power, alchemize that. Your breath has the ability to shift the chemistry within your body. So knowing that, I want you to aliven your life force energy, your breath. Taking this next very deep breath in and activating that life force energy. Deep breath in. Activating your ability to change your body chemistry with your breath. Exhaling. Bringing that awareness back to the crystalline tube. Shoot it out the top of your head, all the way up through the layers of space and time, exiting the physical multiverse as we know and experience it. Anchor into the all that is. Akash, source energy, whatever you want to call it. Pulling down that infinite consciousness, bringing that into the physical being. Running that through that crystalline tube, your body, send it all the way down into Mother Earth. And just experience a few moments here with your breath. I want you to bring the inner awareness to calling in energy from the Akash, calling energy up from Mother Earth, allowing that light to meet in the space of the heart, activating the toroid field. Looks like a giant donut. And just experience yourself with your energy right now, turning on that subtle energy body. I'm going to do an activation of the Merkaba field for you guys. The Merkaba field represents that of the divine masculine, the toroidal field of the divine feminine, activating the light body and the subtle awareness in a more dynamic way. Also weaving in grace, so that this opening, this process of your awareness, your expansion, your enlightenment happens just the right way in the perfect time for you. So be it and so it is. Let's take one breath to stabilize in this energy. Good, exhaling. And let's take one more nice deep breath together to integrate it into our physical bodies, our emotional bodies, our mental bodies, and into the planet. Good job. And if you want to rub your hands together, create a little bit of heat, a little friction in the hands there. Place them over your eyes. Bringing yourself slowly back. Place them over the heart. Give yourself a little inner smile, a little rub with those hands. Ah, my friends, I love spending time with you. Your presence is medicine. Thank you for being here. Guys, what do you think of my friend Kai Van Bodhi?
It was so much fun. I really feel like we should lead a retreat together sometime.
I'm in. Oh, you touched my arm. Oh, you got me.
Yep. It's my Kung Fu skills. Got you.
Ah,
Yep.
I love them. Use your magic on me any day, my friend. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Next at noon, we have Love Lee coming up with her brand new show here at the Akashic Academy. She's getting crazy numbers, crazy reviews. It's not all about the numbers, but girlfriend, you guys are liking Lee. I love Lee myself, of course. As we continue on through the rest of the weekend here, we've got Krista. We've got our huge lineup on Sunday. Stay tuned to the Akashic Academy Network to dive into live experiences live people who love you. If you're ready to take it deeper, dive into the Akashic Academy, reach out to me, reach out to Kai. Have a great Friday, and we'll see you guys here next time.